Hi, Al. Can you tell us your name, please?
My name is Al Boerum, B-O-E-R-U-M.
Right there. And I have met you on the Pearl Seas, the Pearl Mist, on a cruise to Cuba. And I found out the most fascinating thing about you. You're a star. You're a celebrity on board here. Can you tell us about that? What your celebrity status is all about?
I'm really not a star, but in 1962, I was in Baltimore fixing a ship, a cargo passenger ship, to buy a new cargo passenger ship. And I got news from the front office that I have been selected to take the ship I was turning in and take it to Fort Lauderdale, load $50 million worth of medical supplies for Castro, and sail within 2 days.
Wow. And what branch of the service were you?
I was in the Merchant Marine.
And what rank were you?
I was a captain of the ship for years.
Okay. And so you went down there.
Well, we loaded the cargo in Fort Lauderdale and went down and into Havana, and Castro came on board, and I had a meeting with him, and we discussed how fast we could discharge the cargo with our stevedores and crew, and how fast he could discharge the cargo from another area of the ship with his 2 cranes. So he put up a bottle of rum, and I used a bottle of whatever it was, probably scotch. And we both came out even. We were finished at the same time. So he said, I'm going to do something for you. He's going to take me out to see Hemingway's place. Well, this was the most dangerous part of my voyage to Havana, because we had 4 cars to protect us on the way, and I think they were trying to get him, but I was sitting in the back seat of his car with a rifle on the floor, and I said, if they're trying to get him and they miss him, they'll get me. But we managed to survive.
Wow. And when was this exactly? What year?
It was 1962, just before Christmas.
And it was after the Bay of Pigs.
After the Bay of the Pigs, and the reason we were there with the $50 million worth of medical supplies was to release 128 men, prisoners, which Castro and I stood alongside the plane and counted it and looked at them go on board. And he knew a few of the fellows that were leaving, and he said a few choice words of what they were. And we can't repeat these in this interview. But we were there. I negotiated with them, but I think the U.S. government had negotiated prior to my sailing to bring out a few Cubans that wanted to leave Castro. So I asked him, I said, you know, I've got a ship here that I can take a few of the people that don't want to stay in your country. And he said, how many? And I said, I'll take 1,000, which the ship was certified to carry 12 passengers.
Whoa.
But we had the Navy's fly in 1,000 life jackets and 1,000 cots to put in the ship as I had prepared it on the shelter deck by flooring it off. And he provided an overnight lunch for them, comprised of bread and chicken and an apple.
Wow.
But one of the main things that happened there, we had Christmas lunch for the vessel. And he said he would be very honored to come on board and have lunch with us. Well, I thought for a minute, and this was all going to be politically inclined. So I said, I'm sorry, this is a very religious holiday for us, and I cannot have you come on board for Christmas lunch.
Wow, and you lived to tell that story. That's
yes,
amazing.
it was rather smoky around there when he parted.
But tell him about the guy who ran on boat.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
and
The
after
last detail.
the last detail of it is we have a single gangway with this 920 people coming on board, and I'm on the bridge and the pilot's there. We're ready to go, and I say, all right. I holler down to the chief mate to heave the gangway. He starts to heave the gangway, and this fellow runs out of the people that are on the dock and jumps on the gangway and says, "Dill, I've got to go with you." And I said, "Get this so-and-so off," because I figured this was a setup that was completed, that if I had taken a man on board that was not cleared with Castro's group, he would have seized the ship and I would have been in deep trouble. So that was the end of the story.
No stowaways from Cuba that day.
No stowaways. Only 922.
Wow.
The youngest child was 18 days old and the oldest man was 92.
Wow. Thank you for your service, Al. Thank you for making a difference.
You're more than
many,
welcome.
many lives.
You're more than welcome.
It's been a pleasure to get to know you.
It's always been great to be an American seaman.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you, Al Boerum. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.